Yeah, I'm just going to go. I think this first poem that I'll read, if you're a first-year MFA student and you don't have a lot of experience at ASU, maybe this is a recommendation that the Life Sciences building has a bunch of tanks of reptiles that you can visit on your way to from the Piper Center. It's right across from the Piper Center. This is called The Rattlesnakes They Keep in the Life Sciences Building Remind Me of My Dog. Oh, thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Creative Writing Program. I should have said that before I started reading the poem. The rattlesnakes they keep in the Life Sciences building remind me of my dog. The way they lay their chins on a rock to get a minute of rest, the way their eyes get heavily lidded as they stare off out of their tanks. But so do the dead mice, one rat littering their cages around noon. You really can see that too. Their little bodies curled around some unseen center, their tiny ratty feet with scales just like the rattlesnakes. There they are, mammals, same team as me. The biggest snake is an albino so huge his scales, when they lift from his body as he curls around a rock or rodent, look like big, dry flakes of oatmeal. I have trouble relating to snakes. This one, if we met him in our yard, would pump so much poison into my dog's leg, he'd lie down yelping, curling like some like one of the pre-killed mice onto his tummy, protecting what's left. I can't think of my dog dying in front of me in the yard without wanting to chop this snake to pieces with a shovel. But when I see him here bored, he makes me think of a dog sleeping, not dying. I had to stop watching nature shows because of this, not knowing who to relate to. Used to root for the prey, not the predator, but the wolf pups die too if they don't get anything to eat. The lion cubs, the killer whales. Thinking this way inevitably makes you cry helplessly in the dark, the blue light of the television's vast sea, full of creatures vying for this thing you're doing even as you just sit here, washing over you, drowning you. Yes, inevitable is right. I know someone has to die. All of us, in fact. I just wish the dog could live, the rats too, the snake, me. I'm not going to read any poems that say the R word, that rape word, but I will address gender in this reading. I realized skincare would not save my life. I realized skincare would not save my life, that it wouldn't even save my face, and slowly my fervor for it died. Stopped watching the videos in which women would cup their hands into a white basin of water to simulate their evening routine, to wash their faces of the colored wax they'd applied to them just for their videos, of their detergents and oils. Stopped patting the water from the shower into my cheeks, tapping, never pulling, patiently pressing. The cheek, a sunken cheek, the skin, a gray corpse-ish skin. A cheek no hydrator can revive. And in the mirror, I see a gray corpse-ish face, the kind of face that, if found at the foot of a stair or curled stiffly around the lily mouth of a toilet bowl, would signal its owner has ceased to be. Being old is fine if no one can tell, but if obviously they can. Being ugly has no particular meaning attached to it until some other person enters the room. Hard not to crumble under the gaze, knowing what they see or thinking I know. No, it is intractable. The direction I'm moving in, intractably. A crepiness turns into something you can stick your finger through to your horror, and they're marketing you argan oil, lasers, telling you to roll out the skin under your eyes with jade. Staring at yourself in the mirror as you wipe it all on feels more like dying than dying, feels as ugly as you feel, feeling your doom as you are, looking out from its gullet eye. This next one is called Batter My Heart, You No-Personed God. Shout out to John Dunn. Batter my heart, you no-personed God, as I batter my body with false ailments, as I am battered by that which has not happened and won't really happen. Agent of nothing, you're nothing, a nothing that batters like knowing you're not batters me. In nothing, you sit like an autocrat. unappointed. Your sword, your scepter, key to the city as not as you're not. Clothed in nothingness, your nothingness, haughty as someone's prettiest daughter, and both there and not as the smell of cold in drafty rooms. No personed God, I thought you'd retreat toward your emptiness. You retreat toward me. Will I survive this new season? Will I survive this new season with my heart filling my throat and my throat filling my body? With my mind moving to its basement where the pipes are leaking? With my mind descending through its manhole to where the mind's guts are? A manhole is a danger, hydrogen sulfide billowing into your face and knocking you out as you descend, and into the face of the man who's been sent to retrieve you, and into the face of the man who's been sent to retrieve him, your bodies piling up like cartoon cars. Once this starts, what will stop this flesh train? Flesh yielding against flesh of the other, like thoughts on thoughts on thoughts. The thoughts pressing against, racing toward and pinging wildly away from, or resting inertly against. Lovely as you are, I worry. When speaking frankly, I feel. Here, a body, one filament in the thread that connects the bottom of this manhole to the top. One body inextricably added to until this manhole is a catacomb, until the brain a filing cabinet, the pipes a river bloating, the overfilling with, yes, the mind is the body, and the body is a kind of machine with parts leaky or missing. Yes, the mind is a rush of bodily sensation that is, as they say, like pointing your mouth toward a fire hose or a fire hose toward your mouth. How does one turn it off, full as one may be, as sated, done? That's a fear that Kent Corbin gave me, that hydrogen sulfide will knock you out and everyone who's sent to retrieve you. So you will die. Like that. The things men say to you when they're like that, by like that, I mean over top of you, which I guess could be a metaphor too. They could never say it to my face, so having disappeared me so effectively, they go ham. The things they say alone too. Some woman's face on the screen and they say it, their mouths opening wide, gasping to make room for the birth of their secret hearts. Tasting the metal, he pukes it up, his secret heart, has to release the muscle in his jaw to get it all out. The things men say to you when they're like that, his boiling exactness, this stunk up self, stunk up in that he's ruined it, like a shoe. It's boiling, that exactness. He spits it onto you. Birthday. This year in the kingdom of me, I will resist foaming at the mouth in the barbarian way I was born to foam at the mouth. Coming into the world as others exit it is, unfortunately, the only way to come in. Why wasn't I born to be an essayist instead of an exitist, instead of an existentialist? Then I could explain the feeling. As a poet, all I know how to say is, ow, ow, ow. Yes, I am sensitive, and yes, I understand that some things get better as you do them faster, not more carefully. Everyone likes to talk to me about my duende as if y'all weren't born shaking a death rattle too. Har, har. Nothing special about fear, nothing special about an ascent/descent into what looks like a pool of white-hot lava upon closing your eyes. But anyway, thank you for this life, Mother. Thank you for the way it's tethered to our belief in end. This, which feels like an elaborate prank, feels like someone pitying me, finally will say, no, of course you weren't made in something as antique as womb. I guess the only thing that the context for this poem is that it sort of imaginatively recounts a situation in which DuPont dumped a bunch of chemicals in West Virginia and then everybody started getting cancer. And that Teflon into into the environment. So yeah, I don't like it when you spray the house with ant poison. I don't like it when you spray the house with ant poison, this is to Kent, because it makes me afraid the dog will die, which, as you know, is one of my most despicable fears. When I'm thinking about the dog dying, I think I would rather die instead of him, equal as we are on the plane of consciousnesses and pure as he is in the realm of morality. I know you think this is one of the neuroses that make me both worthwhile and insufferable, and that we have to spray the ants because if we don't, we'll always feel them watching us. We'll be always picking them out of our food, surprised by them in a canister of flour or a bag of tortilla chips. But I don't like it when you spray the house with ant poison because if there is a God, we can't be sure he doesn't count this too as a murder, that he won't, with all his lawyering and his perspectives, which seem to me on the whole too particular to apply as broadly as he does, take this up against you as he does all the other stuff and cast you down into that lonely place, that godless place that sometimes I maybe inhabit. And besides, haven't you read the article about the town that was near our own town, the one where DuPont dumped the chemicals into the streams and they only noticed when the cows were vomiting black and dying where they stood, exploding when they were touched, their organs rotting from the inside, wild, running, foaming at their mouths? These bodies, they're more fragile than we admit, rushing as we are from one place to another in our boxes of metal and plastic, barely paying attention, our totus trieb at the wheel. Yes, yes, destruction is the cause of coming into being, but I don't have a death wish. I have a wish to live forever, covered in ants if need be, and side by side with our dog. But there's only so much pleading that can be done about it, to you or to God. This next one was written maybe at the height of the pandemic when it was also election season. We're watching the polls as maybe we are now, and just thoroughly attached to the internet. It's called, "When I ask myself wiltingly, to what has my life been reduced? This is the answer. Checking the tracking for the package that has still only just departed Edison, New Jersey. Checking the tracking for the package that has still only departed Columbus, Ohio. Checking the tracking for the package that is lingering in Romeoville, Illinois. Checking the polls. Checking the other polls, the approval ratings, the COVID numbers. Checking the submissions. Has one ticked over to in progress? No. Checking the submissions of others on the submission tracker, on the Women's Poetry Forum, by searching Copper Canyon and Manuscript on Twitter. Checking your estranged sister's Facebook page. She has posted your favorite podcast, which airs whole sessions of couples therapy. Coincidence? Checking your boyfriend's Facebook page. Still nothing. Checking the Facebook page of a long reviled ex. Checking the Facebook page of a long feared ex. Checking the puny academic job wiki. Checking the AAUP job board. Checking Interfolio to see if that last rec has come in. Checking the polls. Checking the other polls. Checking the COVID numbers, checking the package lingering, checking the Edison, New Jersey, checking the Copper Manuscript, the reviled Facebook page, the Progress Forum, Podcast X. The only thing that's changed is that nobody uses Facebook now. Yeah. This is the last one I'll read from this, and then I'll read one new poem that has been seen by no eyes yet, except, well, his eyes, yeah. Trucking toward oblivion, engaged in microscopic pursuits. This is what I've been saying is that this is what it feels like to be a poet now. When you're living in our current political climate and working on your little poems. Trucking toward oblivion, engaged in microscopic pursuits, using a tweezer to put minute beads on Fabergé eggs, or picking through the knits covering your primate fellow travelers. Same difference, the kind of small encounter that requires all your attention. Though your truck, the earth, is hurtling through space, on course to end all eggs and knits and primates, more nuclear than nuclear in its seriousness. It is sinister to become absorbed at this late date. I am worried about seriousness, the seriousness of my existence vis-a-vis my non-existence, vis-a-vis the non-existence of everything, which nowadays they are constantly constantly reminding us of, but I'm worrying mostly while tapping little parts of a lit screen. The lights change, which makes it look like the images are moving. Tipping into my phone, I am the most absorbed. Inside, the chimps from 2001: A Space Odyssey smash the bones of a taper to also sprach Zarathustra. Someone, me, is shrieking about capitalism. The United States government wears on like a bandsaw, its movements projected onto everything. Someone made this machine, a phone, with their hands, the chips inside as delicate as the detailing on a Fabergé egg. Outside the factory windows, protective netting prevented unexpected deaths. When I tip into my phone, that's one whole time of life. Work is a whole other. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. I know. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, hurtling toward oblivion. I can do it, so I barely feel it. The vertigo, the tachypsychia, then nothing. All right, last poem. This is called 37. I'm 38. This was written on the cusp of this new time. 37. I had become vague. Afraid of offending people, I wrote all my most offensive thoughts down and published them in a book. I waffled, rankled, wrinkled, rent my hands, like I saw my mother wringing. It was nearly biblical, like an image of women I often saw in Renaissance art. To Kent, who receives and extends my best thoughts, I said, the problem with religious art is. He helped the thought become semi-erect, like the Tower of Pisa. Don't quote me on that. I bought a huge plastic cup from which I consumed one gigantic smoothie each day. I became a maritime republic, like Pisa, which accounted for a portion of my success. All day long, boats came in and out, carrying news and spices and trade. I, a port, very patiently let them. Thank you.